not to be distracted. Everything he does, he takes it very serious. Charity game, he's still playing like as if it's the final. Pre-game, like it's the final. So everything, he takes it very serious.
He's like one of your mentors in terms of his performance and his perfection.
No, we're the same age, so you can't say that.
No, why not?
You can't say that. So there's
Okay.
Jordan, but Jordan is not always focused on the game. Jordan had Pippen. Jordan.
But he flies. But Jordan flies. He's air.
Did you see Kobe's dunks? Kobe flies and zooms down like Street Fighter. But no, Jordan took 8 years to get to the finals or more because of the Detroit Pistons. They didn't allow him. So whether the Lakers won or Detroit won, they had a problem with the bad boys. Kobe did not have a problem. Kobe had a problem with the alpha male in the roster, and I think that's changing now at this age and at this time of his career.
Ladies and gentlemen, Ahmed has been very kind to sort of say he'll take any questions from the audience. So
For as long as it goes. Doesn't matter how tired the MC gets.
Doesn't matter how tired he is. So why don't we... yes, my friend.
Your Excellency, thank you for coming. It's been wonderful. My question is this. Currently, the Emirates are 8% of the population, and in 15 years, you could be 1% of the population. Is that an opportunity that you particularly like, and how are you going to deal with it?
They're 8%, but yet, you know, in this culture, we can marry 4 wives, have lots of kids, if that's what you're alluding to. But for me, the thought of getting married scares me a lot. And it's not because I don't want to take matters seriously, but if I take risks and take risks in everything, you know, sports, whatever, even conversations, you know, if someone hears something that's incorrect, they politely say, you know, nod their head. I actually bring the evidence and say, why do you lie about that? Doesn't matter what meeting, publicly. So coming back to your point about that, I think there's a challenge that's beyond your question. And that's only on the Emiratis, has nothing to do with the expats. We love the expats being here. It saves us travel from going around the world, from learning and experiencing. The expats being here is very important, the expats community, as far as I'm concerned. And you know, if it wasn't the case, why would we bid for Expo 2020 then? Why would we bid for that? But coming back to what us Emiratis, I'll talk about me, it's not a reflection of everyone. Some people say, get married and see what happens. There's no way I think that way. Some people have 4 wives with 4 exact houses, 4 exact cars, and they say they treat them exactly the same, which I doubt, but it's mentioned in the Quran, but I think it's an impossible situation. But there is Abdul Gharir, 4 exact houses, 4 wives, great kids, great role model. Abdul Ghaffar Hussein, great role model. Mohammed Abbas, great role model as well. Marriage is really something that happens. Bringing kids and all that, that just happens. It's not in our hands. My problem in that is basically, I'm happy to try something and give it my best and fail. It's okay. But not when it comes to letting down a mother and a child. I'd rather die 10 times before even that starts happening. So that's the problem I have. It's not lack of confidence. It's just that it's getting the right fit. So I don't know about the rest of the Emiratis, and I can't really explain to you why the percentage of divorce today is over 55% in the UAE, in the Emirati community. I think there is Ms. Al-Luta who handles these matters, and she can explain more about that. But as far as population, I don't know. I mean, whatever you recommend. We're up. I don't know how to answer that. I'm into commodities, not breeding.
When would you say that again?
When you would like to get retired.
I got the question. Perfect time for me to retire is when I'm 6 feet under. You never retire. Otherwise, that's not life. That whole story of retire and live your pension is foreign in my head. It's completely foreign. I remember a scene in a movie called Gattaca. Have you seen it?
Maybe it's a little.
It's about 2 brothers. And it's about the time and age, which reminds me of the question of Mr. UHY over there. It's a branding. I'm not going to call you by your name. I'm going to call you by your company. It's about the time where, in the future, where people are not allowed to conceive children unless the DNA is perfect. But one of the brothers, played by Ethan Hawke, was not really a mistake, but in that time was a mistake at the back of the seat of a car. So he was born and he had to blend in. He even, I think in the movie, cut his through his chin to make himself a bit taller and take an identity of another man who was hiding, played by Jude Law. In any case, his brother is the police, head of police, and he wants to go to this place called Gattaca, I guess, or the ship is called Gattaca. And he had to earn his keep. But it's not possible because the DNA don't match. DNA is not what fits everybody. All their DNA has been played with, or they had to, anyone that needs to get married, this is not arranged marriage, this is beyond arranged marriage. Their DNA has to produce good breeds. So he gave it his all. And at one stage his brother catches him. And they used to always race, swim race. His brother beats him because his heart rate is weaker. So he said, look, rather than take me to jail right now, if I beat you on that swimming contest that we used to have as kids, would you let me go? And the brother said, you can't beat me. He said, well, if I do, if you do, I don't even know, I don't even see you. You go wherever you want. And they swam. I think it was a bit of a storm, rain and all that, but they kept on swimming. His brother is fit, he looks like the Terminator. And Ethan Hawke still looks like he's today, skinny and really fit his role. And he kept on swimming. And his brother kept on saying, stop, you're going to kill yourself. And he kept on swimming. He said, what, are you afraid? And he kept on swimming. And he said, his brother kept on swimming, but he said, you're mad, stop. He said, I am beating you, stop bringing excuses. So he kept on going. Until his brother, who is fitter, who has everything in place, starts drowning. Ethan Hawke himself, I don't know the name of the character in the movie, is actually shocked. So he had to dive to get his brother out. And he pulled him to the beach, and he's alive, and he asked the question, how'd you beat me? And the answer is exactly the answer to your question, when do I retire? He told him, I left nothing for the swim back. When you go for work or gym, you make sure you leave nothing in your tank. That applies to work, life, and gym.
And it means that you are supporting the people they are working. It means that you are supporting the people they are working up to 80 years, 85 years, and fighting with a life like that.
Queen Elizabeth is the biggest example. She didn't abdicate yet.
You need an example?
Queen Elizabeth is a great example.
It's a special case. We are talking about, for example, the business.
You think
of
what
politics.
she does is easy? Have you? I mean, I can't talk really right now. There are cameras around, but you think what she does is easy? Have you seen the movie The Queen?
This is not a job. This is it's.
Oh man, you are going to be in handcuffs, my friend. I'm not even entertaining that.
Yeah.
That woman works harder than any woman her age.
Yeah. Talking about her age, 86 years, she's 8. So when you are 86 years old, and we are supposed today is your birthday, and we all come to celebrate, what will you be saying about Ahmed and Sulayem? What have you done? What have you achieved? Where are you?
I'll just hold the mic and tell you guys to leave me alone. I'm 86-year-old. Let me go back to work.
But you just said you don't want to retire. I mean, I won't leave you alone.
Yeah, I'm going to work. I answered your question.
All right, so he'll still be working, 86. Any other questions, guys?
Some years ago, there was a lot of talk about the common currency, the Khalifa, for the GCC countries, and for whatever reason, that fell through.
Talk about what?
A common currency.
Common currency.
Called what?
The Khalifa.
Why was it called the Khalifa, if you recall correctly? Because people might think it's linked to UAE. Is it the GCC currency?
Uh-huh.
So, like the euro. Okay, continue, please.
Okay, so, okay.
said why
do
did
you
it fall?
see,
Yeah,
leaving
okay.
the name alone, let's talk about the common currency. Do you see a revival of talks for this in the future, considering that this would help the trading and commodities market by having a common currency?
Well, look, you have to put yourself in place of those countries. Qatar, Bahrain, our brothers there, and Kuwait as well. Probably the shrewdest country is Kuwait. Even after the war, it didn't affect their economy because they've diversed their investment all over the world. And when the dollar was going down, they didn't get affected because they have a basket of currency. Now you come back to the unified currency. What would you do if you're sitting in their place, looking at what's happening to the European community, and the euro is getting a beating the way it is, and getting a bad rap the way it is, and then not to say that the Arab world would do what's happened in, I guess, the UK or Europe with the LIBOR rigging and everything else. I mean, it's like they're not getting a chance. So I think, I can't really speak for them, but I think they are re-looking at this to do it better than what the euro is being handled. I don't think they'll have Belgium doing it for them, since it's printed everything in coins and all that. Actually, Belgium has one coin. You can Google it. On one side it's something, but on the other side is a Smurf. I kid you not, Google that, it's there. They give everything to Belgium. So maybe, I don't blame them, but I'm just saying, over here, who would do the printing? How it's distributed? That's among the central bank governors and the presidents of these countries. But I think they have a close eye at what China's doing, and they have a close eye at what Europe is doing. Right now, all eyes are at the bigger economy, the ASEAN market and China. Look at China. They got back Hong Kong, yet Hong Kong has its own currency. That wasn't that surprising, but that's how they want. They want, even though Hong Kong is part of China, you need a separate visa for Hong Kong. Yet Hong Kong can make it one visa. The other thing is, I was surprised to see a few days ago UAE playing against Hong Kong. I'm like, why isn't that China? But China wants, it's so big that it has countries within countries. Now, the GCC don't look to the West anymore as much as it did. The pull that the West had doesn't exist as it used to. Is it their doing or not? That's for argument's sake. You can argue all you want about that. But we all know that Brazil, Russia, India, China, and now Africa play a huge role in how the world works. And whether it's a unified currency or not, it's not the top priority right now. They look at what's happening in Europe, and I mean, I think Turkey is happy that they didn't join the euro for some reason and have the issue with the currencies, because there are some challenges to that. They see what's happening to Greece, Greece and Cyprus, Spain as well, and the alternatives are not even easy as well. So it's a difficult situation in Europe. And actually now when they refer to markets, they talk about Europe as one country. That's never happened before. Germany might pull off, but again, it's not my place to talk about these things.
There was a question on this side, on this table.
My question to you is, you're looking at Expo 2020. How is the commodity exchange gearing up to that? And what would be your advice to all the SMEs looking forward for the 2020?
Well, I hope the Expo are ready for DMCC and the DGCX. We'll keep moving, and by the time Expo, not by the time Expo, by the year 2020, you'll have the expansion complete with the world's tallest office tower. Not far off the height of Burj Khalifa, but very tall tower. That's all offices. But we weren't gearing up for the Expo 2020. It's just Dubai. It's in its DNA to keep moving, to keep progressing. If you read His Highness' book, My Vision, he refers to Dubai as the second coming of Cordoba from the Andalusian period. I visited Spain, in my mind, Andalusia, and I looked at and I read the stories from multiple sources. If there's one thing that's consistent with all downfall of economies or dynasties or whatnot, military or not, is that it only breaks down when the mission and vision fares off. Adapting, progressing is one thing, But the reason that this city has been built, if that changes, then we have a problem. But the status quo is to keep progressing, keep building, keep innovating, and that's what Andalusia is. That's how His Highness wants it to be, and that's how we, as his employees, do. I mean, I heard from the MC, you have done this, you have done this. In reality, I'm following instructions to the point, and to the point means exceed his expectation. For Expo 2020, I think time will tell how it will be. I mean, you have already the largest man-made port in Jebel Ali, which is expanding now, I think 3 times the size for different activities. You have the new airport built, and you have more and more projects being built in Dubai. And you see some prices going up because of anticipation. Does everyone like it? I don't know. But what I know is I'm ready for it. Our members are looking forward to it. And Expo will benefit big time from Dubai in 2020 if it chooses Dubai, because this is the most diverse city the world has ever seen in terms of businesses and as a hub. That's how it started about 100 years ago or more, by lifting the duties from the merchants when Dubai was called, I guess by the Indians, two bays. That's how it's named. The real name is Al-Wasl. That's how my grandfather called Al-Wasl Club Al-Wasl. And one of the entourage that Sheikh Ahmed Rashid sent to my grandfather asked, what is Al-Wasl? And my grandfather looked for the stick. If you don't know Al-Wasl now, what's left for the future? So people need to know that Dubai's name is Al-Wasl. It means hub. And it's in our DNA to be ready, whether the Expo chooses us or not. But on paper, results, and the way things are gearing up, they'd be mad not to choose Dubai, given also the other options that they have. Dubai by far exceeds it all.
Yes, sir, please.
There's one practical problem that small companies like mine do face. We are registered in Dubai, LLC. We cannot have an office, say, for example, in JLT. I cannot operate in Abu Dhabi. I cannot operate in Fujairah unless I am registered there as well. So although it's a United Arab Emirates, in each emirate, if you have to register and pay 50,000, 60,000 on an yearly basis, it becomes a bit of a challenge. Is this a conscious move, or maybe is there going to be a change in this?
The US, if you have a license in New York, you can't operate in California. And on top of that, my scope is only Jumeirah Lake Stars and DMCC, and if you have an LLC, you can open a branch with favorable rates and do your business from there, depending on your activity. And I need to know, what is your activity in the first place?
In my case, we are marine. I'm a marine consultant.
You're what?
Marine consultant.
Marine consultant?
That's correct.
How many years?
Over 30 years.
Where's the problem?
In Dubai, yes, 14 years. In Dubai, in 14 years.
Okay, so you know, Fujairah is the #2 largest bunkering port in the world. Fujairah is a big market for marine businesses, and they're looking to expand. They would like to have more in the port facilities. Abu Dhabi is looking to have a lot of Jebel Ali is there, even Western Abu Dhabi. The demand is there. The fees you talk about are completely irrelevant. And on top of that, I don't know any country where you can have one license and you can go to other states and use the same license. I don't know any country that does that. I think even in Saudi Arabia, if you have a license in Riyadh, you need a license in Jeddah. If you have a license in, even Oman, city to city, they have their own economic department. So it's not that we're waiting for someone else to open up and make it easier, but that's how it works for these cities to, you have to register. It's not about the money really, it's about the registration and having the files and documents. It's not always about the money. But I have to repeat again, a lot of the world benchmark the US, so if in New York you have a license, you're not going to get that same license in Delaware. That's a different license, different rules and regulations. And in Sharjah, there are activities you can't do in Dubai. So you really need to look at this much closer than what you have just alluded to. Sam said he'll ask a question. Where's Sam?
What do you think about the Chicago Bulls and Derrick Rose?
I love that story. And I hope he can dunk stronger than before. The only reason the Miami Heat got 2 championships because Derrick Rose was injured the whole time. But from the East, it's looking like it's going to be Indiana or maybe Chicago Bulls. These are the top 2. Brooklyn Nets maybe. But I made a bet, not a bet, I guaranteed on CNN and it's on my DMC YouTube channel as well, just to make sure that story is out. That if there's one thing that's for sure this season, Miami will not win the championship. I have my own reasons. The incentives are not there to kill themselves for a championship. They almost lost this year. On the Lakers side, God, for the life of me, I do not know how last year the Spurs came out. But they came out and they almost beat Miami Heat. Now Miami Heat has 1 more year of basketball age on them. And 3 of their key players are on their last contract. So their mind is about staying healthy, avoiding injury, not lowering their value. And Shaq, when he was with the Lakers, he had 1 more year to go. He signed a 4-year deal of $120 million. So Chris Bosh has been soft all these years, and I heard even in Toronto. Dwayne Wade has knee problems. So nobody's going to kill themselves on winning games. They'll make it to the playoffs and do what needs to be done, and then get a big contract, whether it's in Miami or maybe Dwayne Wade joins Derrick Rose in Chicago Bulls, where he came from. Bush, I think, will not last in Miami. If he does, then that man is one of the luckiest players I've seen, next to Tyronn Lue, sitting on the bench, getting 3 championships with the Lakers in the early years. But the Bulls, I love the Bulls. I love the way they don't give up. I love how the unselfishness in that team. Brooklyn Nets is somewhat like that, with the exception of Darren Williams. They're all unselfish. Darren Williams can always act like he's unselfish, but I don't buy it. But I see Indiana, Bulls, and maybe, the only reason I have doubt for Brooklyn Nets, even though their second unit are all-stars, is because the coach is the first time, which is Jason Kidd, and he has a problem with temper. If he had an issue with his wife feeding his child and he punches her in the lips, what the hell is he going to do to these players? So, you know, I hope they pull off. I like that Russian owner who paid just in penalties about what, $80 million, $90 million, just penalties. It's not paying the salaries, it's just penalties. He could have bought a new club with that money, but he's looking to get the championship. We'll see what happens. We really know when the trading window during the All-Star ends, we really know where things are at, because one thing Miami doesn't care about is rebounding. It is 27th, I believe, in rebounding, and off the charts and everything else, but this year they look a bit rusty. Also LeBron, so that's not a good sign. Come playoff time, after 82 games, and these players are thinking about their future and their kids, they're not going to kill themselves. They're already champs. So they don't have anything to prove. The hungrier team and the scariest team in the East is Indiana. West Coast should be Golden State Warriors. If they get Omar Asik from Houston Rockets, who's right now not playing any minutes because they're looking to trade him, I believe. He's not happy to play with Dwight Howard. Kevin McHale tried to fix matters by having Dwight Howard the power forward and Omar Asik a starter and center. But again, he's not happy. He's not getting the touches he wants. So Kevin McHale is a no-nonsense coach. He seated this big paycheck of a big expensive player center, Omar Asik, and some lucky franchise is going to get him. Whether they give a lot of draft picks, I don't know, but we'll see where he lands. But if he lands in Miami, then Miami has a chance. But it will be a slower Miami, not a fast Miami. Thank you for being so patient. I actually thought maybe half of you would leave, like I would. I sneak out of these matters. I'd be thinking, what an egotistical executive that is. Keep talking, mumbling, and all that. But I'm humbled by your presence. And it's a weekday. It's not even a weekend. Maybe that's also more difficult on a Thursday night. Depends on who you are. I need to point out something. If you go through the teachers if they're still around, some are from Russian School for Boys at least, they will tell you Ahmed was a non-existent person in class, kept to himself, barely gets a C every class, barely gets through every year. Same as college as well. Going to the States, I never wanted to leave Dubai. Being an extreme introvert, not necessarily to say I'm not sociable, but I don't like I'm too introverted, and the books that were given to us, and it's all about extroversion. It wasn't the case. 30 years ago, the world was introverted. So, you know, out of every 3 people, there are, I think, 2 introverts who need to adapt. And you need to understand where you fall in that line. So I have to remind you again, what's transpired in DMCC, where I stand, this opportunity would not exist if it wasn't for the consistent faith and confidence that His Highness actually stated on day 1 of the announcing of DMCC after his visit, that His Highness Sheikh Mohammed bin Rashid Al Maktoum, Vice President, Prime Minister and ruler of Dubai, has full faith in the management, and that faith never changed, even during the credit crunch, even during the recession,